What's going on, guys? Welcome to the Scent Bubble. I am your host for the afternoon. Listen, today we're talking about another super popular fragrance from a series of fragrance that people buy every single one of these when they come out. It seems to really appeal to the youth in the 20-year-old category, but due to its sweetness a lot of times and spiciness. But I just really find this to be a line of fragrances, and this fragrance specifically of a category of sweetness and spice that is really unique and almost one of one. There are a couple of exceptions to the rule, but this is just a fragrance DNA where if you are anywhere remotely in the realm of kind of sweet spice, you must have at least one fragrance from the line of this house. And so we're going to talk about it. It'll be a somewhat brief video, but I want to review this fragrance for you guys because I think it is spectacular for a certain group of people. So buckle up. We'll be right back with you. Again, welcome to the Scent Bubble. I am so thankful that you guys are here. The growth on this channel has been absolutely spectacular, and despite having 30, 40 subscribers, the views are going out of control. So I'm finally learning how the algorithm is working. As long as you have specific content that's very consistent and reliable in quality, the people will come and YouTube will point you to your audience. And so I'm very quickly finding my audience, and I'm really appreciative for all the comments and feedback that I've been getting. It seems we get between 5 to 10 comments a day. So for a channel of my size, that's spectacular. And I want to say thank you guys for even taking 1 second of your time to interact. The fragrance that we're going to be talking about today is none other than from the house of Viktor&Rolf's, and this is Spicebomb Infrared. Again, this is similar to Dolce & Gabbana's K, where I am going through my travel spray before we get to the bottle. So, what does this smell like? We're going to hit the test strip. I'm not going to hit skin because I've done that plenty of times before. But similar to Dolce & Gabbana K, this fragrance is beast mode. Beast mode. 9 or 10 out of 10. Projection, whoa. Longevity, whoa. Does it soak your clothes? Yes. When we talk about sweet and spicy richness, this almost in a lot of ways is even more rich than Dolce & Gabbana's K Eau de Parfum. Before I really get into my initial thoughts, you just need to know that this fragrance is pungent, it's dense, but it's got this sweet draw. So I feel like it appeals to a younger crowd oftentimes because, you know, anything below 30, simply off of the fact that it is sweet. It is not insanely sweet, but it is dominantly sweet. The sweetness projects crazy off of this, but it's mostly kind of in the background, surrounded in this spicy, somewhat holiday concoction that we're going to look at right now in this note breakdown in just a second. But you got to know that this is sweet, this is spicy, this is almost tobacco-y, and infrared is a straight killer, man. Like, this demands attention. It's inviting, it's cozy, it's definitely a cold weather, cool climate fragrance, but if you're wearing this in the room, you will turn heads. It is an inviting fragrance, it's very unique, but the density of its sweetness and spiciness gives it the holiday tinge, but not quite so much holiday. You just smell like a sweet and spicy bomb, and that's what it's called, Spice Bomb. So let's take a look at the note breakdown real quick, just so you guys can see and wrap your head around this, because I think for a lot of people, I personally don't like a lot of super sweet fragrances. I'm not a gourmand guy, but I do like potent sweetness so long as it comes with the sophistication. A lot of times I feel like fragrances, especially from modern houses or commercial houses, they douse in sweetness and they don't build up to the sweetness. And so it lacks layer and complexity and comes off like cheap synthetic sweet. And similar to a note like leather, I apologize if my mic cut off there, but similar to leather, with leather, what makes leather beautiful is the complexity and offsetness to the strong animalic side of leather that really makes leather an interesting note in fragrance, such as ombre leather. Similarly, when you're dealing with sweetness and spice and kind of you're pushing toward gourmand tastiness, the beauty of what makes a fragrance more wearable, more circumstantial than having narrow situations where you would wear it is the complexity, the nose adventure that you go on when you whiff a fragrance like this. And I think for people who hate sweet fragrances and go more zesty, floral, citrus, musky, animalic, anything under the sun in that category, or woodsy, is if they're going to dabble in a sweet fragrance, they got to feel like there's elements of the things that they already love. Woods, florals, fruits, good quality spice, and also most importantly quality ingredients so that the sweetness doesn't come off so sugary that it's off-putting. Spicebomb is a sweet spice bomb. And so this will turn off a lot of heads immediately if you're just, this is not the entry level into spicy sweet. This is, I love spicy sweet, but it sits in the middle of not going so over the top that it's just completely gourmand. But just take a look at this note breakdown here. I was looking at the big camera. I should have been looking here, and that's okay. We're just going to roll with it. But let's look at the simplicity of this so you can see where the power really lies. So up top, we've got red fruits, pink pepper creating that spice. So it's really kind of like this light spice pepper. And then we've got the pungent saffron. So the red fruits and saffron really sit up top and just provide this kind of fruity, predominantly fruity, lightly floral experience. But then it's just like just saran wrapped in cinnamon. So what's carrying the predominance of the spice is pink pepper, red pepper, and tobacco. What's carrying the predominance of the sweetness is red fruits, cinnamon, and benzoin. And the saffron note is kind of just adding to the pungency of the power and the projection. I smell everything in this fragrance. What's so beautiful about this note breakdown is it's so simple and it's so quality, you can make out all of the notes. The tobacco tames the sweetness. It provides an earthiness to it. Again, this is like your typical lightly sweet tobacco of high quality. This is pipe tobacco, not cigarette tobacco, as the picture suggests. This is like really rich, sweetened, plain and sweet pipe tobacco in the base. And it really is in the base. It just provides this loungy, sophisticated class into the note breakdown, again, that tames the sweetness. I would say this is predominantly a spicy over sweet fragrance. Like it's almost like, let's say 40% spice, 30% sweet, and 30% tobacco. The red fruits don't really stick out so much. Like you smell sweetness, but there's no distinct fruit note to me because it's so saturated in that kind of saffron cinnamon vibe, and the spice is so forward over the fruits that it just smells sweet. If I was to simplify the sweet cinnamon benzoin aspect, tobacco removed, I would say that this fragrance is very much like if you had a cinnamon, a big red cinnamon stick of gum. This is like not necessarily the cinnamon big red gum, but it's the cinnamon big red gum before it got dried and cut into the gum sticks. It's that concoction brew right before you lay it all out to be dried and powdered to become gum. So it's warm, it's hot, it's pungently sweet. But it's got somewhat of a lightness because of the fruit aspect of it. Then the spices cut into that sweetness as well. The base is tobacco and benzoin, so it kind of maintains the sweetness, spiciness, but then it goes more tobacco and warms up. But it's still very much, even on the dry down, predominant. I would say tobacco is about 30%. Again, I think it maintains 40, 30, 30. 40 spice, 30 sweet, 30 tobacco. And that cinnamon, it has a sweetness to it as well. So most of the sweetness comes from the cinnamon over the fruit, but the fragrance looks how it sounds. Infrared. It smells red, for lack of a better description. And it is just good, man. I think it's very unique. Again, I don't think it's for everybody, because if you don't like pungent, sweet fragrances, it might not be for you. But to me, in a nutshell, right? If you like red tobacco from Mancera, infrared kills that fragrance in its complexity. Red tobacco almost tinges in the urine category. I've always said this, and people can, beat me up in the comments if you want. The tobacco they nail perfectly. The tobacco note is just like how it is in this fragrance. Just that rich, sweet, natural cut pipe tobacco. But in red tobacco from Mancera, the tangy red aspect of it almost smells like the most clean cut, most prestigious lion took a piss on the tobacco. And because it's so tangy, it's so tangy that it's almost, it comes off very synthetic and almost like urine, but it's not quite urine because it's a little upscale. It's pungent, it's rich in its tanginess. So that's why I always make that dumb analogy of it smells like the richest lion in the jungle took a piss on your tobacco. But that's just my vibes. Infrared, in its tanginess from kind of the saffron pepper vibe, is harnessed in with cinnamon, harnessed in with red fruits, and stays on the sweet side. So even in its tangy sweetness, it's predominantly sweet cinnamon. This is a cinnamon fragrance forward with a great backbone of spice and tobacco and sweetness. So to me, in that kind of red tobacco category, this just annihilates red tobacco, no question, as the most unique, projective, long-lasting fragrance, and just has masterfully added to the Spicebomb collection in its redness. I hope this was helpful. This fragrance is... Okay, so I see it on eBay for as low as $70. Can I find it on Amazon? Sorry, guys. Let me just look this up real quick. Spicebomb. Infrared. Yeah, it's going for $140. So that's insane. I think there might be a couple of good clones of this, but man, it is money well spent, guys. Even if you just wrap your nose around a sample and a travel size. Again, if you like spicy, sweet, I think it's blind buy worthy, no question. If you tiptoe your way into spicy, sweet, borderline gourmand fragrances, go to a Sephora and smell this. Go to a Macy's and smell this. Buy a sample and smell this. But I really think you should open your nose to it. Don't necessarily judge it on first sniff. Put it on skin, and this fragrance projects even unto yourself. You'll be wafting yourself naturally throughout the day, just catching whiffs of it warming up. And you'll find it to be cozy, inviting, and unique, and just something that nobody else has. Again, this isn't a any season, any reason type of fragrance. Cold weather, I think it's so playful in its sweetness that it's a 30 and below type fragrance. I would find it weird that someone north of like 35 would wear it maybe. I think when you're in your 30s like myself, you walk a fine line with this fragrance. Like for me, I only find myself grabbing this during holiday, and I'm not doing that many sprays. I'm doing like 2-3 sprays and I'm good, and I might even spray it under the garments so that way, the shirt and the jacket and everything kind of subdue just how sweet it is. But when I'm going for that unique holiday, spicy, sweet, seductive tinge, maybe even date night sometimes, it's a very circumstantial grab for me because, again, me personally, I'm not the craziest fan of borderline gourmand sweet fragrances, but it's such a unique fragrance in that red tobacco category that I have a lot of respect for it. And I actually, out of anything, do really love this fragrance. So, we talked about age, we've talked about circumstance. Um, is this unisex? No, it's for men. I think women could super rock this. To me, it's in its sweet spiciness. Women could rock this without question. Is the original Spicebomb Extreme unisex? No. See, I don't understand that. When you have a fragrance that sweet and spicy and holiday vibe-ish, women can rock this. If you're saying women can't rock this, then this is for young boys. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, projection, longevity, beast mode, trail, beast mode, lasting power, potency, case scenario, uniqueness in your collection. It just checks all the boxes. I'm really interested to see what you guys feel about this fragrance, because this isn't blind buy worthy in my opinion because of its lack of versatility, but it is a secret weapon in your collection for the right circumstance. And so for those of you who have had it or smelt it, I want to know how you guys feel. I hope this review was, good for you guys. Again, I appreciate you all for stopping by. Definitely turn on the notification bell. You will be notified every single morning that a new video from me has popped up. And in the Spicebomb category, I've smelled Extreme and Infrared. Actually, I've smelled all of them. To me, Spicebomb Extreme and Infrared are the standouts. I will say I am getting that knockoff clone. If you're interested in just the Spicebomb DNA, Odyssey Ohm, I believe is going for like 20 or 30 bucks, which we'll do a review of that, which almost is a cross between Spicebomb Extreme and what's the other fragrance they say? Spicebomb Extreme. There's another fragrance. It's kind of like a 50-50. Oh, and Noir Extreme from Tom Ford. So I'm really excited to get that, because if that is kind of moves out of the red category and just kind of goes to the seductive spicy sweet, I might be into that, because I really love this Jimmy Choo Man Intense, even though it's pretty rich sweet. But if there's something more in the Noir Extreme and the Spicebomb category that's not quite red and sweet cinnamon stick of gum type vibe, I might find more use case in the Spicebomb Extreme clone. But I would never spend $140 to buy a fragrance like this. I just don't think it's versatile enough. But there are some circumstances of fragrances like Tom Ford's Noir Extreme that I think become more versatile, and I'm open to those. But I'm so glad that I have Infrared in my collection, not just as a travel spray, but it was more just to kind of have it. And I'll be rocking it very circumstantially. Hope you guys have a blessed rest of your evening. Let me know if I left anything out, and we'll be back to you guys with another banger tomorrow. Peace.